Hello, thanks for being in a new video. This time I have unboxing of the 13.2-inch Huawei MatePad Pro. Let's get started. This is a newly introduced model and it is the largest tablet that Huawei has so far. You could practically use it as a laptop for certain applications, so it can be attractive for many people who want to have something super portable and super light, but with access to keyboard and a little bit more advanced experience. So, its launch price in Mexico is 19,999 pesos. On the screen you see the reference price in dollars to give you an idea, but remember that the prices here are not the same as over there. In addition, I must tell you that it includes in the purchase the keyboard, which already comes with its accessory, which already comes with its cover, and also includes trackpad. In a moment we will take a look at it. And also included is the new 3rd generation Huawei M Pencil. Note that this generation includes Near Link, that is, it is no longer Bluetooth. Huawei claims that Near Link is the next evolution because it allows for much faster communication, so it promises ultra-low latency when you're typing. So these are the included accessories, but let's take it a little bit at a time. How about we open this box first and see its contents? So we're revealing its contents and here comes the tablet. In this plastic, we're going to take it out perfectly well. And I'm definitely surprised that it's a considerably compact tablet considering the size of the screen. In addition, it also avoids reflections nicely. But here the remarkable thing about the size is that its bezels are super thin and slim. Let me turn this tablet on so that you can more or less take a closer look at what I'm telling you. Orale! Orale. But notice how well it avoids reflections. This is the Huawei tablet and this is the Samsung tablet I have. Definitely this one reflects too much and the Huawei one comes with a much better worked finish to better avoid reflections. Definitely a more advanced display. In this case, I have the green edition, although it also comes available in black, but I really like this edition. It comes with a very nice finish on this back. Here on the top frame, notice how it has 3 microphones for excellent pickup of your voice for video calls, volume buttons. Obviously, being a high-end tablet, it's gonna have 4 speakers, 2 on one side and 2 on the other, or at least 4 grills. Because sometimes they include 2 speakers in each grill, so they're multiplying. But at least in a general way, we can say that it has 4 speakers. As you notice at the bottom, it is surprising that it does not have any pins. Usually the pins are in this part to connect in a physical way, let's say, to its accessories. But in this case, Huawei fully relies on its wireless connectivity. So we will test it further. On the other side, we have the USB-C port, which is still just one. I would have liked Huawei to put 2 USB-C ports on this model, which is Pro, but we are still left with only 1 connector on tablets. It is very uncommon to see 2 USB-C connectors, but to no one's surprise, what is common is to find 2 cameras on a tablet, which to me is totally unnecessary. The main camera has 13 megapixels with f1.8 aperture. We also have an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera with f2.2 aperture, which you're probably never going to use. So I insist that I wish they would just put in a very good quality camera. Instead of the second camera, which ends up being useless, they would put us another USB-C port. I'll keep waiting to see which manufacturer makes that decision. For now, let me finish looking at the contents of the box before showing you the performance and specs of the tablet. We remove this cover and we are going to find directly with other boxes where comes content such as documentation, which in this case is not present because it is a unit exclusively for review. We also have here the charger and cable. Pay attention because this is the new Huawei charger that, as you can see, has 2 outputs. One is USB-A and the other is USB-C. Only that they come together because it is not intended to be used with the 2 connectors simultaneously, but simply that you choose which of the 2 you will use. In this case, it comes with the European connector, but obviously that's because this is a review unit, but the connector will come depending on your region. That's over here, and let's see if the other side has something. It looks like there isn't. So how about now we take out the keyboard and we take out the stylus. This is the keyboard and its official name is Huawei Smart Magnetic Keyboard. As you realize, it's going to be magnetically attached to the back of the tablet, and just like that it's going to start working, but let's see if it's as simple as it should be. Obviously, this keyboard model for the moment is only compatible with this Huawei MatePad Pro, but it is not ruled out that in the future Huawei will launch other models of tablets with a similar size with which you can also use this accessory. Let's take it out of this little bag. And notice it comes with the back. It comes with a little detail that says designed by Huawei. Then comes this cardboard where it gives us some tips, for example, that the keyboard will have an NFC zone to initiate the multi-screen collaboration that Huawei has. It also gives us some shortcuts, and for example, we can press and hold one of the buttons to initiate dictation via voice and other things. In fact, here on the inside comes some additional documentation, and finally we come across the keyboard. Then look at its design. It is quite peculiar. It seems that this part is the one that will be glued to the tablet, exactly in the hollow area that has the back cover. But before I connect to the keyboard, let me set up the tablet to be absolutely sure that everything is going to work fine. I've got the tablet set up and it's time to connect it to its case, so let's just move it closer. I immediately felt the magnetic absorption and it's already on this part, but it seems to me that the keyboard should be glued on the back first. Then we're also going to simply pull this accessory closer and see how it immediately feels when it's perfectly snug. Let's see, at this point I'm feeling that the keyboard didn't fit properly, so from this part it seems to me that it glued much better, and I'm going to glue the back cover afterwards. It seems that the ideal was to glue the keyboard first. That's it, I think it looks pretty good. In fact, it is curious that they have even put some small rubber feet to this part that is going to be on the table. That is something I had not seen in any other tablet case. So let's try what the opening would look like. It looks like this, and you have to remove the tab so that it can stay as a small stand. Immediately notice that I got the notification that this keyboard has been detected, and see how you just select the connect button and that's it. It seems to me that the linking is very good, considering that we are not going to have any pins. In fact, here it is also showing me some gestures that we can perform with the trackpad that is included with this keyboard. So I like that it comes well optimized with several trackpad functions for quick use. Here is the trackpad. As you can see, it is also of a very good dimension, and the truth is a super smooth trackpad. The click, I feel it is quite deep in that sense. I would like a click that does not make so much noise, but definitely that the experience, if it is very smooth when you are sliding. Also, as you saw, if it is able to recognize gestures such as to go to the home screen or also to open the list of recent applications. So this is one of the first proposals of Huawei to have a tablet that can also be used as a laptop, because in other proposals Huawei had not included a trackpad and only included the keyboard. But in this case I want you to see how the operating system comes quite well optimized. That even feels like you put the cursor over any icon, immediately there is a response. So this would be the first accessory that we have available, and it strikes me that despite being a wireless connectivity, it doesn't include any port or anything to put it to charge. So I conclude that it doesn't discharge, or that even the tablet could get to transfer some level of power to it to charge it, but that's not really noticeable. Now let's take out the second accessory, which is the third generation M Pencil. As you can see immediately in its box, we are given some of its advantages, such as the use of near link is going to make it have a low latency. In this case, it includes a transparent tip and it sticks magnetically to the tablet frame. So let's take this stylus out of its box and we're going to see what the linking process looks like as well. Notice that included in the box is the necessary documentation, better known as the paperwork, and finally a replacement for the stylus. That's the additional contents, and finally here we are with the pencil. Lápiz. Sigo tirando cosas. We're going to peel this off for a much more comfortable experience, and then we're going to link the stylus. In this case it doesn't appear available yet, but just stick it in this part and it will detect it, at least that in theory, and yes, here it is. I'm going to simply put the connect button, and just like that it is already linked, and notice how it immediately marks that it starts to load. This stylus does show that it has a battery and that it charges wirelessly, and in this case it's giving us some shortcuts that we have available when we have this stylus in our hands. For example, we swipe down from one of the corners and we're going to access a quick menu to be able to take a screenshot. Obviously with the ability to extract text or with the ability to also take a specific screenshot of an area. And we can also just immediately annotate anything that's happening on the screen with multiple pencils, brushes and color styles. So the connectivity of the accessories was really very good. Now let me check if the stylus should always be attached with the tip facing left, or can it also be connected the other way around. Apparently you can do it both ways, so there is no problem there. And notice how you can easily pull out the keyboard, so to speak, and reattach it. So it's very easy to switch from a computer mode to a tablet mode. So you could very well use this tablet as a notepad, because remember, Huawei lately is putting a lot more emphasis on their own Huawei Notes app. This is a very comprehensive app that also features cloud syncing. So you can create various notes and the typing is definitely going to be very good. You do notice a much lower latency compared to other pens I've tested. This is due to the technology, oh what? This because of the near-link technology that Huawei is touting, and I definitely have to say that it does show. It's a very fast response, very nimble, and I remind you that you can perfectly place your hand resting on the tablet and you can still write, as the tablet is able to recognize and reject hand touches while you are writing. This application also has a selector, so you can reposition some notes you have made, although apparently you can't resize them. You can also insert text boxes easily, and even remember that it has hand text recognition to pass it to digital text, so I can perfectly write here hello and it will translate it to digital text. We could also get to insert some image in this same note. It can be from the camera or from the gallery. And it also has shape recognition, so it is a considerably good application for everything that has to do with notes. As you can see in this case, when you put a triangle here, it gives us a small view of the angle at which it is so that you can set it specifically. This is something I haven't seen on other tablets. Usually when you draw a triangle, it doesn't let you modify its angles, but in this case you can do it perfectly, and a moment ago I had told you that it could not be resized, but it is possible to resize everything you have placed simply by setting the specific option. So I think it does offer us a very good level to take your notes and make all kinds of annotations. It also supports voice recordings and other things, so it is a tablet that seems to me extremely complete. Obviously without access to Google applications pre-installed, but remember that through the app gallery is already much easier to install various applications. For example, let's install YouTube simply so you see how from the same official Huawei store this can be done. Then we go to the search bar and immediately already suggests me YouTube. But in this case, I'm going to do the search manually, and look, this is something of what I get to despair sometimes of Huawei tablets. That in this case I already removed the keyboard, but being a wireless connection does not detect as such that I already removed it, so it does not show me the virtual keyboard. The keyboard has no off switch or anything like that, so it complicates its use a bit, honestly. I'm just going to have to type from the YouTube keyboard and that's it. Notice how here is the application and I can install it with no problem. It's going to ask me if I want to install Gbox, which is the necessary complement to be able to install these applications. But now I'm going to try to install Disney. And again, here is one about Gbox, although in this case I could also install the application from some external store, although obviously it is at your own risk, since the application as such is not officially within the app gallery, although it is through Gbox. So I'm going to install this application as well, and let's go to the main screen so you can see how here we already have access to YouTube. The first time you run it, you have to give it some permissions and wait for the initial configuration, since it is running on something virtual to be able to run Google, but after the first time you run it, the following times are going to be much faster. From the YouTube app already you could perfectly log in to sync your subscriptions and absolutely everything. And just to test, let me do a search for you to see how it's going to send us to install some other Google add-ons as well. This always happens the first time you are running and configuring all the applications that have to do with Google. Notice how we could also install Google Drive without a problem. And while that's happening, let's now perform the YouTube search. I'm going to search for my channel, so let's search for Marcial, and that's it. perfectly. We can start playing some video, then we have a good performance in these applications. Let's open now the Google search application, and again, the first time it will take a little while to configure, but that's it. Again, we go back to YouTube so you can see how the operation is the same. We're going to open Google Drive as well. And in this case, it's already asking me if I want to log in to Google. And in fact, if you enter the Gbox application, that is the add-on that you installed, notice how you already have full direct access to Google Play Store. So if you log in, you can access all the Google Play content through Gbox, which is a sort of a virtualizer. So in applications as such, I would not find too much inconvenience in this tablet. But anyway, in the video review, I will tell you absolutely everything you need to know about this tablet. For the moment, let me tell you that it has a thickness of 5.5 millimeters, obviously, without considering the case. And that's definitely very good, because when you add the case, it's going to be much thicker. Especially the keyboard part, I think, is quite thick. It has a weight of 580 grams. Its screen is 13.2 inches on its diagonal. We are talking about an OLED panel that has excellent quality. The front camera is 16 megapixels and has automatic framing. And in the battery, something very curious happens, because the capacity that Huawei expresses is 5050 milliamps, but working under 7.7 volts. That is to say that in normal tablets, that would be equivalent to 10,100 milliamps. And measuring it in terms of a laptop battery, we would be talking about 38.89 watt hours. So in the review, I'll tell you specifically the battery life figures that the tablet gives me in my tests. The tablet comes with 12 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage in the model I have in my hands. Although this is a more expensive model that is currently unavailable. But the 256 gigabyte version is the one that has been officially announced in Mexico. The processor seems to be a mystery, since it is not revealed in the specifications of the tablet. And Geekbench only reveals that it has the first quad-core cluster at 1.53 gigahertz. These 4 cores are specifically for efficiency. Then we have 6 cores running at 2.15 gigahertz, which are for slightly heavier activities, but the 2 most powerful cores run at 2.49 gigahertz. That is to say, it is a 12-core processor, apparently, according to what is detected in this application. And seeing more details in another application reveals that the name would be Kirin 9000W, a processor made by Huawei. Then this would be the return of these processors to tablets. And notice that the GPU is listed as Maleon 910. That is, it is Huawei's own GPU as well. So it will be very interesting to see what performance this tablet achieves. For the moment, what we're going to do is just run the Geekbench benchmark, and we'll come back when we have the score. And here are the results: 1,154 points on a single core, 3,912 on multi-core. So very similar numbers, or around what the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 can give us. So I think it's a considerably good processor. It doesn't seem to have any problems. But in the review, we're going to test different games as well to see how well it can perform. At the moment, simply what I would like to see on this tablet would be a taskbar, as currently it seems that this bar only appears on the main screen. And if it shows you some recent applications for a more or less quick exchange. But it would definitely be much more advanced to have the bar constantly to switch you between apps. At the moment, that does not seem to be present. We're only going to see that if we can switch or transform an app from full size to window size if we slide towards one of the corners, which is pretty cool. So if we have more or less a way to have multiple applications running at the same time, but it still doesn't come close to the DeX mode that you can find on Samsung tablets. So I think in that area, Huawei still has some room for improvement. But this was just an initial glimpse. For the moment, we have reached the end of this video. If you liked it, you know you can tell us about it, and we'll see you next time.